Yeah, a little bit.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So this was the start of Fat Cat.
Have his moment,
This was the start of Fat Cat 2, really, because we had Fat Cat in Halifax, but they changed the name and all that stuff. So when Fat Cat and Machine, we got this contract from this guy, Kimball Webster, who was referred to me by Ian Gallant. And it's just a nice kernel. And I believe if you treat people nice, even if you can't do anything for them, or if they can't do anything for you, if you just do what you can for them, it will come back. So always pay it forward, and always do your best to help people out, even those that can't help you. And I was able to hire Ian back for Happy Tree Friends a couple years later, so it's a full circle thing. So I moved back to Miramichi, partly because I was broke, and partly because there was a school here and I knew I could get some talent. So we got the series. I hired Dave Wrigley. Actually, no, I didn't. I hired Cindy, his girlfriend, and I hired Jeremy Walker and Matt Rogers, I think. And Dave Wrigley showed up anyways, and it was cool, right? He was like, I know you can't afford me, but I'm gonna still show up and I'm gonna work. And I talked about this before with some of the year twos, I think a few weeks ago. Just show up. Just show up. Like Lugaroo, right now we have like maybe 3 or 4 guys working and a couple programmers, and we're doing some work, and we could use the extra help. And if you're looking for a job, or if you're looking to stay in the area, just show up. Right? Just keep on showing up, and eventually you will find yourself on payroll. Dave Wrigley worked for 3 months, and then of course he was on payroll. And when I had Trainingscape in Halifax, there was a couple others. Jeremy Donovan just kept on showing up and helping out. And we found out that after a while, he was better than some of the guys that were on payroll. And he found himself on payroll. Just help out. If you have nothing to do, just help out and become an asset to the company. And they will be noticed. You will be noticed. And eventually find yourself making some cash. So I hired these guys, and I did the show called And Yet I Live in Hollywood. It was the first animated series done in New Brunswick. And we sold it to CBC with Campbell, and that's how we started the company. And then it was a 6-month gig, and about 4 months in, I realized, oh my God, I need more work. Like, how am I going to keep this business going? I can't just, what happens after this? So I figured out I needed a salesperson. And that's when I hired Andrew. I talked to Akoa. Where is Andrew? He's not here, is he?
No, he'll leave you.
Oh, I told him. So I hired Andrew, and they got me some like caskets for a funeral parlor. I'm not even joking. And he didn't know anything about animation, but he had the right attitude, right? It's all about attitude. If you don't have the skills, you can train for skills. But it's the attitude for stuff. And he looked like he was 40, but he was like 22. Like he's missing teeth and a fucking eye patch. Fucking half a leg. He came in, and he knew how to sell. And he went out and he sold right away. And he didn't sell the things that we needed to be sold, but after a while, as we grew and found out what our focus was, we started selling the big stuff. And then that's when we got Happy Tree Friends. We did 39 7-minute episodes of Happy Tree Friends in 2006. And we hired Ian, we hired a bunch of guys on. I think if Keith Dury is here, we hired him, and geez, God knows who else. Yeah, there he is. And so we had this big crew of 40 guys. And we're like, okay, so this is going really well. We're about to finish. Okay, how are we going to keep everybody? We need to find another gig. So we all got together, and I was like, okay, we got to find another gig. So Andrew went out, and he scored another gig called Supernormal, which was the show that was for Granada and BBC, or CBBC, I think it was, in the UK. And was it CBBC? BBC, okay. So it was BBC. And the thing is, that project didn't start until about 2 or 3 months before Happy Tree Friends ended. So, you know, we couldn't put the guys off Happy Tree Friends on their Supernormal because they had to finish, and so we hired another 40 guys. You know what I mean? What do you do? You say no to the gig, or you keep everybody afloat? So we said, yeah, we'll take a gig and we find out how to do it, right? And that was the fundamental flaw in Fat Cat's policy. And that's what we're not doing again in Lugar. But so we hired an extra 40 guys, and all of a sudden we're 80 guys. And then we're too big for our little shop downtown. So we said, oh, let's buy a shop. And 2006, 2007 was like the biggest year for us, and busiest year for us. We were turning away so much work. We had web series going for I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, some Century 21 stuff. We were doing sponsors for Pepsi, Yahoo, G-Guy and Squishy Grams, like, it was just
Family Guy.
crazy. We did a bit of Family Guy the next year. Like, it was crazy, right? Just turning away work. So when things are really good, be careful. Be careful about your decisions, because they can turn just like that, and that's what happened. We got all this work, we bought a $250,000 studio, we put another $250,000 into it so it looked like fucking Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Hired a recruiter.
Hired a recruiter, right? We were sky's the limit, and nothing can touch us, we're bulletproof, right? And you're never bulletproof, right? So watch out. So in the next winter, the next spring, we got Chaotic, Skunk Fu, and then we scored a piece called Super Strikers, which needed like another 60 guys. And so all of a sudden we're 120 people. I'm accepting more glass and brass from government agencies because they just think I'm the fucking, king of Scotland. And you kind of get this idea that, wow, I don't think we can do anything on that, right? So, we go buy, $40,000 worth of CDs, so we go and get this, and we go get all the fanciest stuff because, we're doing so well. But that was, like I said, the fundamental flaw of Fat Cat was we put everybody on retainer, and in this industry, or not on retainer, on salary, permanent, full-time. You don't find that too often. Unless you're maybe in a bigger center with a really big studio that's really well funded, and that has a continuous stream of work, and has a continuous stream of talent that just kind of rotates. Out in Miramichi, it's really fucking hard to do that kind of thing, because first you got to import all your talent. We hired the whole class, I think in 2007, or maybe like 75% of the class. And there were students, so you guys need training when you come out. It's not, everything that you've learned here doesn't just apply right away. There's techniques, and every studio does things differently, especially if you're working for Pat, because he has his own shortcut keys, fancy fucking things. And so we started this gig, Super Specters, I think it was the spring of 2007. It was a $2.4 million contract that we got by blogging. I had this blog called Studio Heads, where I invited all these heads of other studios around the world to discuss problems that they're having with their shops. Right? I thought it was ingenious. Oh yeah, we'll work this way, and we'll talk about genuine things. And this guy from one of the blogs, or on the blog, he said, I got this gig for you. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he goes, yeah, it's a big series, $2.4 million is the budget. I was like, fuck, this is great. Right? So naturally, what do? I said, yes. Right? Sometimes it's good to say no. Of course, I said yes, and figure out how to do things, which is another mistake that I don't do. Well, that's not entirely true.
I'm not calling on it yet.
Hey, if the margins are good, I'll do it. Especially if I don't have to do the work.
Find a way.
Yeah, we'll find a way. Find a way. Anyways, so we did the first episode of Super Strikers, and we sent it in to the director. The director loved it, approved. And then we started on the second episode, and Pat, correct me if I'm wrong on this one, because you were there, right in the thick of it. And we started the second episode, and then the producer calls us on the first episode, I don't want to do it again. We're like, what the fuck? About 95% reading, right? Fuck. So we're like, okay, listen, we really need this gig because we need it to help finance the next one, which is like an $8.3 million contract, the biggest thing we've ever done. It had us working with all the major broadcasters, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to be right in the door with broadcasters. So we did it over. We lost the money, like 100 G's at least, and we paid everybody to do it again. And then we sent it into the director loved it, producer loved it, and then it was like the owner basically called and said, I don't like it, do it again. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Right? But I signed a contract because I was in a rush to get the first payment because I had a big studio and a whole bunch of people. I need a constant stream of money to keep all these things going. So I rush into deals. Right? And that's kind of what happened. So I said, no, you owe us 300 grand, I'm not doing it. And I had to make the call. And I folded up the project and told him to fuck off. And I was clearly in the wrong because I had production obligations. I was afraid he was going to sue me. But what can I do? So, and because we needed so many more people on the next gig, I kept those people around. I kept them around for how many months? 3 months, I think. And lost more money. But I figured I could just make it up on the next one. Because it was a big gig, April 3. And you take those risks when you're an entrepreneur, right? I think I can do it well. It feels right. And that's all it is. They're just guesses, right? You talk to people, you talk to advisors, you talk to your finance, you talk to your sales, and you just get a general feel, and you trust your gut. And sometimes it's dead wrong, and sometimes it's dead right. It's a whole guessing game. Business plans should be not blank plans, they should be business guesses, because that's all they are. Projections and stuff, they don't work. It's guesses. So anyways, we started 3 delivery, or just about to start 3 delivery, and we get a call from the owner. Great, you know, like, and this is all happening within like 2-3 months of each other, right? So he says, yeah, we a distributor pulled out, we lost $1.6 million in financing. Are you fucking kidding me? So now we got to do $8.5 million worth of work for $6.5 million, basically. Fuck. So